Chris, nice to meet you. On that
I usually wait till the end to do something like this, but I want to make sure that at the very beginning that we extend acknowledgement to the staff of the Stone Center for doing such a wonderful job and bringing everything together, getting everyone here, organizing us so that this event would be able to take place, so we would be able to bring a new friend here. So please also acknowledge them as well. I was asked to read a few things, and I'm going to do that quickly so we can get to Tim. And that is to also, okay.
Excitement.
Just for me, you know, I would know. To thank the folks. Some of you were asking me, how did I find Tim? How did we get things here and whatever? It was, as Tim will tell you, a labor of love and many, many long months of negotiating. Clarissa was negotiating with folks from Canada, from New York, from Minnesota, from all over the country to try to make sure that we had this particular selection of work. And it includes Tim's gallery in Canada, Douglas Udell Gallery in Edmonton and Vancouver. We also had help from Axis Contemporary Art in Calgary, and of course, for those of you who are ever in New York, the Lions Weir Gallery in New York is his kind of home gallery here in the U.S. We also want to thank the Rivers Agency and our brother here serving, because as I can tell from people eating, it's been very good tonight. The Office of the University Council at UNC, because for every one of these pieces that you see on the wall, we had to negotiate with the owners over the price or the value and all of those other kinds of good things that tend to happen when you're doing something of this scale. Most importantly, we want to thank our campus co-sponsor and continued supporters, the Kappa Omicron chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and the great work that they always have done with us and for us. Thank you very much, as always, for being here. Please, let's all of the pieces in this show, except for two, were loaned to us, so I'm not going to go through the names of those individuals who loaned us their work, but you will see that listed in the catalog. So as you read through, please understand that many of them parted. I mean, we had to drag the pieces out of their hands, but I think once they understood what we were doing, as Tim was telling me, some of the other folks that own his work are trying to figure out why we weren't asking them to have their work here as well. So we want to make sure that folks know that they were very, very gracious in allowing us to have their work. Tonight, I also want to mention, Tim is being featured in a documentary called Heavyweight Paint. And the director of that film is here tonight. You may have seen it. and he's filming footage for the documentary, so don't be concerned. He's a reputable gentleman, as far as we know. But if nothing else, we will be able 20 years from now, when Tim has international fame and has moved far beyond us, to say that we were in one of his early pieces. Clarissa has reminded me to remind you to please complete the evaluation surveys. They are very, very important given what's happening with budgets and things of that nature. Please make sure also you join us at our next event, the opening of the Diaspora Festival of Black and Independent Film. And that night we're having a double feature, including the short film Clara Kumwalagwa and an oversimplification of her beauty. That's next Thursday, September 19th at 7 p.m. Check out the Milestones newsletter calendar pages for a complete listing. Now, did somebody make a decision about how we announce the tickets? Or should I say something about that now? Okay. Huh? For the next time. Okay. Well, beginning at our next event, we will be giving away 2 student tickets and 2 adult tickets to the Wynton Marsalis Big Band Choir, Abyssinian Choir event that's taking place in October. Those tickets are from $80 to $100. So we're giving away 2 to our supporters who come out to the film. And the way we do it, of course, is many of you know that we tape the tickets under the seat, and at the end of the night, you can check it if you're sitting there. If you left before the show was over, then you're out of luck. But this time, we're giving away 2 for students and 2 for adults. Now, for the task at hand, let me move straight into this. I'm supposed to introduce Tim. Tim has been moving around, talking with you all. It doesn't take very much. Most of you have already discovered the same thing that I discovered when I met him. Tim is probably one of the easiest artists to deal with that I've ever encountered. When we met in New York, we met in the lobby of some hotel, I don't know what it was, and had cucumber wraps or something, and just sat and talked about what we liked. Nothing heavy, nothing difficult. And throughout this entire process, he's kind of manifested that. He is an educator as well as an artist. He is a musician, as many of you have begun to discover. He's a person who takes a very, very deep interest in the work that he's doing. In other words, I think he's a very contemplative artist, and you can see that in how he depicts the individuals in these particular pieces. Much of that comes through when you hear him. So I'm going to move out of the way and let you have a few words from him, and maybe even have a few questions if you're down for that. All right. Okay.
Well, I want to thank you all for being here. Number one, I know there's a few other openings that people could be at, so I really appreciate it when it came out tonight. I know free food is always helpful to the student population, but I really also did want to thank Dr. Jordan, first and foremost, for getting in touch with me and asking me to do this exhibition, and I'm really, really grateful. So, I might even get a little emotional, actually, but I'll pause and hopefully not completely crumble. I also want to thank Clarissa Goodlet as well, who really, really, she was our rock in making this all come together. And I have a gift for her, actually. Where is she?
She's standing back.
Okay, all right. Well, I have a gift for you, just so you know. I'll tell you about it. But really, what an honor to be asked to do a show here and to be a part of the 25th anniversary celebration here at the Stone Center. Seems like just an incredible aspect of what UNC offers to have a place like this, and so really to be asked to be a part of celebrating 25 years of existence is really, really humbling and a huge honor. So I'm very, very grateful to Dr. Jordan and to everybody here that worked so hard on the show. It's also exciting for me to see all this work together in one place. This is work that goes back to about 2005 or 2004. And a lot of of these pieces are from different series and different ideas that I had and different stages in my artistic development, you know, over the last decade or so. So to see them in one place, interacting together, is really kind of a treat. And again, you know, I feel very privileged to have this opportunity. It also reminds me of a very important lesson that I learned as a painter who paints people, and that is, do not paint the girl you're dating, because she'll live on forever in your paintings. Which one? I'll point her out to you. Actually, the worst experience I had was I was doing a whole series, and for some reason I included the girl I was dating at the time, and we broke up right in the middle of it, and I had to finish like 7 paintings of her at the worst time in my life. I kept looking at her face. Awful. So I always tell my students that, or never do that. But you know, it is really rewarding working in portraiture, working, you know, using the mode of realism, because I think that there's really an ability for people to engage with the work without feeling like, oh, I don't get this, or I don't understand, or I feel like there's barriers between myself, you know, and this work, and I don't know how to form opinions on it. I think the nice thing about working like this is that everybody feels like they can have an opinion. And luckily for me, most of the opinions have been pretty positive, but I think that that's been part of my motive as an artist, is to create work that people can engage in, whether it's, you know, young kids or even you know, well-trained art critics who have taken, you know, years and years of art history classes. They can both interact with the work on some level. So that's really been a really rewarding part of working in this mode. And you know, it makes me realize as well, when I was younger, and I had a couple other friends in high school, we were like, yeah, we're going to be artists, we're going to do this thing, and you know, we're going to take it all the way. And one of my friends asked me at a certain point, he said, because we were trying to be very sophisticated and philosophical or whatever, he's like, if you were on a desert island and you had paints and canvas and all the art supplies that you ever needed, would you paint? And at the time I was like, yes, of course I would. I'm a purist, I would paint, even though there's no audience and nobody would ever see it. And over the years I realized, no, I wouldn't paint. You know, it's for people to interact with, it's for people to engage with. I would spend my time like building a garden or like a better shack, you know, how to, you know, build a deluxe hammock. You know, why would I paint? I think it's really, for me, it's about the conversations that are started through the paintings. It's about telling stories to other people and really having that interaction. And that's really, again, I think everything that I've learned that I'm about as an artist is that idea of conversation. And obviously, based on juxtaposition of who I am and what I look like, and the fact that I grew up in Canada, I'm half Japanese and half British, and people see the work, there's always that question about, why do you paint the people that you hate? And I get that question, I totally understand it, and I have to say that it's a kind of a long and complicated answer, which I won't necessarily get into in the fullest extent right now, but it's really people, you know, you have to make a decision as a portrait painter. Who do you want to paint? And for me, it was like, I want to paint people that I'm interested in. I want to paint women because I'm interested in women. And, but I also wanted to paint people that I just thought there was something compelling here. There's something about the subjects that I chose that I felt like was pointing me to these stories that have not been explored very often previously. I felt like there was a certain strength and energy in every model that I ever asked to pose for me. I felt like there was a certain soulfulness that I wanted to try to capture on canvas. That was a challenge to myself as an artist. But I also, as I said, you know, found myself gravitating towards people that I like, because if you're painting, you're spending a lot of time, you know, painting this person, and it really helps if you have some kind of rapport relationship with them. And I've been painting mostly women for the past several years as well, and that's mostly beautiful women, and in fact, every one of them is beautiful. And so that's one of the job perks. There's a lot of sacrifice that goes on, so you got to try and exploit the one thing that you can do, and that's juxtapose for you. So that's been part of it as well, is just building these relationships, and by that I mean insightful types of friendships that have really, I think, really allowed me to grow as a human as well. And I think that, further to that point, it's interesting because doing the documentary the last couple of years, doing a lot of interviews lately, I've had to get very introspective about my motivations and about who I am and about my philosophies in dealing with life. And I realized that there are always going to be people that are going to look at what you're doing or what you're trying to create or what you're aspiring to as a student. I mean, I don't care what it is you're doing, but there's always going to be people that look at things through a negative lens, a self-constructed negative lens. What they don't realize is you have a choice. And I've really come to realize that in the past few years, that whether it's in your daily life, in your relationships, or in your art as an artist, you have a choice. You can either choose to build walls, or you can choose to build bridges. And the building of walls is usually the easy choice, because usually you're supplied with a whole bunch of bricks. And the bricks are made out of your personal experience, your negative experiences sometimes, your personal history, things that maybe were out of your control, maybe bad experiences you had in your life, issues of bigotry or racism. These are the bricks that are being put on this pile. And building a brick wall is easy, you just kind of stack them up. We all know what a brick wall looks like. And a lot of people allow themselves to undertake that project of building that wall. And they build themselves into a little box, this brick wall box. They usually, not usually, but oftentimes forget to even build windows to see what's going on outside. And they take comfort in that. And their whole world is defined by that. Basically dividing themselves from everyone else and sort of living in this negative place. But they have a choice, and I believe that I've been fortunate enough to have people enable me to be conscious of seeing the choices and helping me to make this choice to build bridges, which is hard. There's engineering involved. I mean, if you ask me to build a bridge, it's like, I don't know how to build a bridge. Well, how do you do that? Whether it's over a raging river or a deep divide, it takes effort, it takes sacrifice, it takes knowledge, it takes understanding of the problem at hand and knowledge of yourself. And I think that that's one thing that I've tried to do is build this bridge so that there's a connection and there's an option to continue to move down this road that I think is basically a road that leads to the evolution of human consciousness, which is not something that's guaranteed or automatic, but something that we have to work at and make a decision to go down that road, even during the most difficult circumstances where we're dealing with the politics of the day, the social injustice of the day, and all these things that are really undermining our spirit and our ability to build that bridge. We have got to stick with that program and continue and not abandon it. And that's really, like I said, something that's been very important to me as an artist, and I will never stop trying to build it. Thank you very much.
I also want to mention one other thing. As I mentioned, almost all of the pieces except for two are already owned by collectors. However, you saw in the front as you came in, Tim was kind enough to do some prints for us that are signed and numbered. The pieces that you brought with you are Progressive Youth, Coronation,
Yeah.
and
what's the last one? Oh, and the Ascension.
and the Ascension, the piece that you have. And so if you're interested in purchasing one of those pieces, you can let Tim know tonight. If you want to go home and convince your friend or your wife or your husband or whoever's with you that you ought to do it, his cards are on the table. You should take a card anyway, because as I mentioned, he's still, being shown in other galleries around, and you may want to refer him to friends. But those who are interested in getting one of those prints, you can talk with Tim tonight, or you can talk with Clarissa. Please enjoy the rest of the reception. Please come back into the gallery. Tim will be here to talk with you, answer questions, to get a little deeper into which one of these is or was his girlfriend. Not like we gossip or anything, but it would be really nice to know. So thank you all for coming. Please come in and enjoy the exhibition. Thank you.